right, welcome everybody to Unexpected Wrestling. Hold on 1 second here. Forgot to do something real quick. Boom, that should be working now. There we go. Welcome everybody to Unexpected Wrestling. We just had a pretty interesting night last night in the world of WWE. I am Minty. Here is Mr. Chonk. Mr. Chonk, how are you doing today?
Feeling fresh.
Feeling fresh, huh? Hey, Hippie on the house. Thanks for stopping in. I'm going to apologize to you guys ahead of time. I am very, very under the weather. I've been feeling sick the past 3 days, so if my voice starts acting up or anything, that's why. I'm not trying to be stupid on purpose here.
I
um,
am.
well, yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, nice shirt there. It's a little outdated, but you still the New Day shirt. New Day shirt representing the New Day. Even though that was one thing that was very odd to me is that the New Day had no representation in the Rumble at all, and they were there. They were backstage or whatever. They had none of them showed up in the Royal Rumble.
They're in my heart.
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Chunk always has the New Day representation.
Yes.
So yeah, Royal Rumble 2025 was last night, and I'll be completely honest with you. We're going to go over all the bits and pieces of the Royal Rumble. That's pretty much what this entire stream is going to be. Um, but I will be honest right off the bat here. This is one of the best Royal Rumbles that I've seen in a while. I got to be honest. And I've been to Royal Rumbles. I can't say, like, I guess time will tell if this is like the best one ever. I don't think it was the best one ever, but it was
It's
definitely
up
the
there.
best one that I've seen in the past like 5 years, at the
Yeah.
very least.
It's
Uh,
almost tied with the one in 2015. I'm kidding.
dude, dude, the one in
No,
2015,
no,
I
no.
think universally is known as like the worst of
I
all
know.
time.
I
Not just
know.
because we were there. I think just people in general think of that as one of the worst. There was only one good match on that show, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was good. It's like one of my favorite matches that I ever got to experience live, but it wasn't enough to save that show,
No, it
unfortunately.
was not.
Unfortunately. So as for the Royal Rumble 2025, we have a lot to go over here with this because it had a lot of surprising moments, and we're gonna have to remember what our official predictions were last week because I kind of forget what some of our predictions were. I know that I was
Well,
wrong on a lot of things.
I have mine.
Yeah. I think we both had the winner of the women's Rumble right,
Yes.
though. I think we
Yes.
both picked Charlotte, and she did end up winning. But there were some surprises in that match that I was not expecting.
I mean, it was
So,
predictable that she won, but I don't think that's bad. Sometimes being
no.
predictable is
Well,
okay.
the thing is like, even though I thought she was going to win, that was my prediction. There was still moments in the match where you thought that somebody else might have taken it.
Oh,
There was
yes.
many opportunities that somebody else might have pulled off a victory there. But yeah, so the show started off with the women's Royal Rumble, and the first three contenders in there. I know Roxanne Perez was number 3. Who were the first two? For some reason, I'm forgetting who the first two in there were. Oh,
Forgetting as well.
Liv Morgan
Again, yeah.
and Io Sky, because I put
Yes.
I put a thing on Twitter. I said, with Liv Morgan and Io Sky starting first, which fan base will have a meltdown the quickest? Because they have the most dedicated internet fan base, for bad or for good. Those two have the most dedicated internet fan base. They constantly think that they should be main eventing WrestleMania, constantly thinking they should be having titles, and yeah, neither of them won. So with that, and
Oh, they're
um,
good in their own right,
yeah,
and they've had their time in the sun, and it's
yeah.
time
I
for a
mean, how
change.
like what else can you say? Okay, Io Sky, she had the title last year. She had it for
Yes.
months, and Liv
Yes.
Morgan had the title for most of this year. So like,
Yes.
what? I don't understand it, but I guess that's what fangirls, fanboys do, is they just are
Yeah.
diehard fans.
Yeah.
Um, so one thing I'll say about the women's Royal Rumble is, in my opinion, It took them a little bit to get to the good stuff, in my opinion. They didn't have any surprises at the beginning. Some of the more heavy hitters did not come into the match until after halfway through.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a
the
bit of a slow start. I'll
yes,
give you that.
the issue is, and it's not really an issue, but when I think of the Royal Rumble, I think of days of past where we're expecting at least like 5 surprises or 3 surprises. And the problem we have now is we're getting surprises, but they're from NXT. And we're so used to seeing NXT now that it's not really a surprise. It blurs the line between main roster and NXT. Whereas
I mean,
back
you
in the
got some surprises outside of that, though.
yes, you did, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that NXT, since it's on regular television now, when you see somebody like Julia or Stephanie Vacour come onto the Royal Rumble, it's not as much of a surprise as it was for like a Nikki Bella or a Trish
Yeah.
Stratus or something like that.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, an NXT call up was a big deal.
True.
And something we've noticed with the Rumble these past couple years is just because an NXT star is in the Rumble doesn't necessarily mean they're called up right away.
Correct.
So I guess that takes some of the lure away from it too.
Yeah, and that's a question I had with Roxanne Perez. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
she's called up yet. It's a little unclear. I think it's going to
Um,
happen soon,
yeah, she's
but I
definitely
don't
not
think it's
called
right
up
now.
yet because she has scheduled matches in NXT against.
Yes.
I think they said something. I thought it was going to be her versus Bailey 1-on-1, but I heard it's like a triple threat, like Julia, Bailey, and
Yeah.
Roxanne Perez. So at the very least, I would say Roxanne will probably finish up with NXT through WrestleMania because
And post
NXT.
WrestleMania will be a call up.
Yes, maybe the night after. That's my
And
prediction.
she may even have a match at WrestleMania. I mean, there's
At
nothing wrong with having
WrestleMania,
NXT.
I
Yeah.
think the NXT has a pay per view that weekend too.
The stand and deliver. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Or she might get
um,
involved. I don't know.
she definitely did not look out of place at the Royal Rumble, and they had her stay longer than anybody else. She was the
Yes.
final two. She came in at
Actually,
number 3, and she was final two with
did she
Charlotte.
have the length record or close to the length record? Longest
I don't know if the
person
longest ever,
lasting in
but
the
she
Rumble?
definitely was the longest in that match last night. I think she might have the longest for the Rumble,
Yeah, I thought they
Women's
flashed.
Rumble.
Yes, I think they flashed a
Because I
record for
think
that.
Bailey had it last year, and she had the
Mm,
longest
mm.
time in the ring or whatever. Um, so some of the main key points in the Women's Rumble. So we got, I think the biggest surprise return that we had for me personally was Alexa Bliss. Because there was
Yeah,
so much rumors going around that
the
she,
contract.
yeah, that
Yeah,
she and WWE weren't on good terms on money with her contract, and people were officially saying that talks have stopped between them two. I don't know if they were just playing the media or just kept it that much of a secret. Um, but yeah, she came back. It looked like she might still be doing the Wyatt stuff though, because she had on the back of the jacket it said Bray Wyatt
yes,
forever, Fiend forever or something.
yes.
She definitely had the dark personality. She had the little doll, an updated version of the Lily doll.
Good thing
Um,
I bought that Jack in the Box.
yeah, you have the old version in the Jack in the Box,
Yes,
and now she has an
that could be
updated
worth $1
version,
million one day.
or a million pennies. You never
Yeah,
know.
that's still a lot of pennies.
um, what else did we have going on there? So Alexa Bliss. One thing that they did announce in the Women's Royal Rumble, they had Jordan Grace come out as a quote unquote surprise, but they did announce that she is officially on the WWE roster. Hey, JoJo90 in YouTube chat wanted to let us know that wrestling. Oh no, hold on. They're asking, is wrestling fake? JoJo90, no, no, wrestling is very real. Just the stories are fake. If that's a legit question or you're just trolling, I don't know. But hope you're having a good day and thanks for coming to check us out. Yeah, so Jordan Grace, they kind of announced that she is officially on the WWE roster. Didn't really announce what show she'll be on.
You
And
think
that's
she's getting accelerated to the main roster, or she's on NXT?
see, I was going to talk about this a little bit in Yo Nick Spoon, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. I was going to talk about this a little bit in the prediction thing, but if I were WWE, and thank God I'm not, because obviously my predictions are wrong sometimes, and some of my ideas are kind of dumb. Um, I would get her and Rhea Ripley in a match at WrestleMania
Yes,
this year. This year,
agreed.
I think Jordan Grace is hot right now. Like the fans are really
Yes,
into it. Before you even give her a chance to like get some stale on her, and people just kind of get off of her gravy boat, whatever you want to call it. I would get her and Rhea Ripley into a program as soon as possible this WrestleMania. Now, I don't say that Jordan Grace should beat Rhea Ripley. That's to be decided, but those two, I think, need to have a face-off, and WrestleMania would be a good place for that to happen. So, in my opinion, no, I don't think she should go to NXT. She's been there, done that. I think it's time for her to be main roster and hopefully on Raw. Honestly.
okay. I kind of agree with that. I just wasn't sure if, they were taking a risk like they did with Jade Cargill, and they accelerated her main roster debut after leaving AEW. So I
Yeah.
didn't know if they wanted
Well,
to
no,
be
Jordan
cautious
Grace.
with
Jordan
Jordan
Grace was
Grace,
in TNA, not AEW. Um,
for better for worse. Right.
yeah. AEW. They tried to sign Jordan Grace. She didn't want to go there.
Right.
Um, what's her?
Because the typical route is that even if you came from another promotion, they still
Mhm.
make you do the performance center and stuff like that
Oh
to
yeah.
train you in the WWE's ways of things. So I don't
So
know if they're
like Jordan
con-
Grace already did a couple months in NXT. And she could kind of be on a Jade Cargill thing where she's at the performance center and on the main roster. Just because she's on the main roster doesn't necessarily mean that she will be having matches every single week. And I mean, I think she's decent enough. In my opinion, she's decent enough. She's more capable of some people that are already on the WWE main
Yeah, fair
roster.
enough.
I think she
Yeah.
has more star power than somebody like Maxine, and that's nothing against like Maxine or even Michin. I think I'd rather see Jordan Grace in a match than Michin. I'd rather see Jordan Grace
Okay.
versus Chelsea Green than Michin.
Yeah.
So I mean that's saying something. Like fans want to see her, have her on the main
Yeah.
roster.
Yeah.
Um, we also had Trish Stratus returning in the Women's Royal Rumble. Um, the thing with that is like somebody like Trish, she's done these returns so many times now, and it's kind of lost. It's like, I mean, we're obviously people are happy to see her. I was happy to see her, but it's like how
Is that
many?
a one-off in your opinion, or is she coming back for some
I
short-term
don't know.
program?
I don't know. That'd be interesting. Like I like it when she comes back and does a program. I like the one she did with Becky Lynch. I like it when she comes back and like does a couple matches because I think she still has value.
Well, I mean, the last time she did it, she kind of mentored Zoe Stark, right?
Yeah.
With the whole "Thank you, Trish." I mean,
Yes.
it sort of helped Zoe Stark a little bit, but I think,
They got her name out there.
other,
Got her on the main
yeah,
roster.
yeah. I mean, that could be repeated for somebody else who's maybe new to the main roster that isn't getting, the notoriety, and
Yeah.
that Trish can help establish that person.
Yeah, I think like somebody like Trish, they kind of need to line her up with some sort of match. There needs to be like a program in place. Like Trish isn't somebody that's just gonna sign a blank WWE contract to
Yeah,
be like, oh, we'll see what happens. No, she's somebody
right,
that's like, I'm gonna come back. I want to do this match for this long on these banner pay per
right,
views, and I need the main event. Blah 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 blah.
right, right.
That's kind of how I see Trish doing her thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a one-off. Elimination Chamber is in Canada next month, so maybe she'll do something there. You never know. Maybe she'll be in a women's Elimination Chamber match. I'm sure
Could
they'll
happen.
have one.
Yeah. What about Nikki Bella?
That's what I was going
One
to get
off
into.
or
That was
yeah,
Nikki Bella. The way that they were talking, it sounded like this might be um, more than just a one-off. I'm not going to say she's going to be back full time, but
Right.
and I do have an interesting video with Nikki Bella and Bailey apparently, and we'll have to decide if this is kind of set up or if this is some sort of real life beef going on or something. We got a couple different videos there. So let me start off by showing some of these returns, entrances, and stuff. We got some video footage to kind of show off a little bit of some of these. Let me just set that up real quick here. Screen 2. Boom. Okay.
What?
Yeah. So the first one I'm going to play here. Let's start off with Jordan Grace. Here's Jordan Grace's entrance into the Women's Royal Rumble last night. Looks like she's keeping her TNA theme song, which is okay by me. It sounds a little bit too much like Scott Steiner, though, with the sirens.
Yeah.
She's definitely got a different look than she did last year. It looks like she did her hair up or something.
Grace. It's her second Rumble appearance.
But just looking at her, like she looks like she's jacked up like Rhea Ripley. Something tells me those two need to face off.
You know who she reminds me of?
It's hard to. We can't really assume that people on the WWE roster use steroids anymore. They have so many drug testing policies, and they've learned their lesson from all that. One thing I'll say about Jordan Grace is she is in the legit like bodybuilding competitions and stuff. So I know that they're very strict on that kind of stuff too. She's like one of those fitness model type things. So she is very knowledgeable about how to take care of her body and what kind of diets to be on. So
certainly looks like it. And let's see what her character is, right? We only
that's
saw
going
her
to be the
do
main
moves.
thing. That's going to be the real thing that might hold her back is if she's not connecting with the audience. Like, okay, she looks like a star. She can do it in the ring. Can they?
But
get
then
her...
is she a wet blanket? We don't want a wet blanket.
Can they give her a character? We'll see.
Yeah.
So that was Jordan Grace. We also had. Let's show Trish Stratus's entrance real quick. Apparently, Trish was wearing the same outfit she wore when she debuted in WWE back in like 1999 or similar. I doubt she would fit in her old outfit, but you never know. At least the hat looks the same. I'll say that.
It does, yeah. Yeah, she looks pretty good for age. Is she almost 50?
Oh, yeah.
She's definitely in her late 40s at the very least.
Yeah.
Trish Stratus going old school with what she's wearing tonight. Back when she debuted in WWE. Remember,
you know, that's the extent of it.
Yeah. And then just in the past 10 years or so, women became more of a focus in WWE because they used to have it, I wouldn't say easier back in the day, but they weren't as physical as they are today. They weren't having 20-minute matches and stuff like that. They didn't have a women's Royal Rumble till how many, 5 years ago maybe? So, no, more than 5, more like 7 years ago they started the women's Royal Rumble. And then who else do I got here? We got Nikki Bella. Oh, no. Let's do Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss. This was the biggest shocker for me. The Alexa Bliss return. Sounds like she got some new music. Fans were definitely into that. And clearly she's in her dark personality still. So we'll see how things will go with Alexa Bliss. For me, she's always kind of been a hit or miss to Bliss.
Alexa Bliss, yeah.
It's hard for me to really like dream up of a match for her on the current roster. I mean, I think obviously her and Tiffany Stratton would have something going on. Her and Chelsea Green would have some good matches. Honestly, like more like good matchups I see in NXT for her than anywhere else on the main roster right now. We've seen her and Bailey, we've seen her and Charlotte, we've seen her and Becky Lynch.
I mean, the thought that I had is, are we going to see a reemergence of the Wyatt family and her pair her up with Nikki Cross?
Here's another thing, and I haven't seen WWE officially announce this, but people on the internet are saying that she's on the Raw roster. which means that she wouldn't be tied with the Wyatt Six because they're on SmackDown.
Interesting. That's interesting.
That's very interesting. And then another, probably one of the bigger surprises of the night was Nikki Bella. Not a lot of people were expecting her, and she popped out. Especially since the past couple of years, she had kind of some tension with WWE. I forget what it was about. Something about one of her TV shows that they were promoting on WWE, but they weren't mentioning she was on it or something like that. It was kind of petty bullshit. And then when you think deeper into it, her connection with the Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, married to John.
There's a little bit of
I think to be honest,
popping.
I think I would twerk more like Nia Jax, or you know what? You would probably do a me chin twerk, dude. The big back thing or whatever they call it, long back twerk. There you go. So Nikki Bella ended up eliminating Bayley last night. And after the elimination, there apparently was some sort of kerfluffle outside of the ring between them two that the WWE cameras didn't catch, but there is some fan footage. I'll play that right now. I might have to enlarge it because it's a little hard to see, but let's play this. If you can see it. So take a look at that. Nikki smacks Bayley for whatever reason. And then they have some words. Not sure what's going on there. They're pushing each other around. Nikki's yelling something at Bayley as she's making her way through the crowd. Not sure what's going on there, but potentially maybe that could be some sort of feud they're setting up, or maybe something miscommunication happened. Who knows? But
I mean, real life miscommunication turns into an actual feud at WWE.
Maybe, but the one thing that's interesting is before one of the times Nikki Bella came back for one of the reunion things, she did an interview backstage and she said something like she was asked if she'd ever consider coming back, and she mentioned something saying, "Oh, if I came back, there's one person that I never got in the ring with, and that's Bayley," and blah, 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 blah. And she did kind of allude to that if she came back, she'd like to have a match with Bayley. So maybe that's something setting up. Who knows? Maybe they'll be doing something at WrestleMania. I'm not sure. I kept on thinking that the Royal Rumble was going to give us more answers to what WrestleMania was going to look like, but honestly, it's kind of given us a little more questions at what WrestleMania is going to look like.
Agree.
It did give us some answers, but it gave us a lot more questions.
I think that's a good thing because it made it unpredictable in what the next steps are. Some things are a little obvious, and I could tell that they tried to not make it obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jey Uso, it's okay, yeah, he could technically choose, but we kind of all know what route that's going to go down, right?
Yeah. So, and we also have, unfortunately, I don't have any video footage of this one, but we also had Charlotte returning at the Royal Rumble last night, but it was announced. It wasn't a big surprise. And Charlotte ended up actually winning the whole thing, which is kind of crazy. But we both did predict it, so there you go. Charlotte has so many haters. Do you know that? I know you're not really on the social media much, but people hate Charlotte a lot. I don't understand it, to be honest.
Charlotte, I think my only little complaint is sometimes WWE treats her as the safe option. Oh, we don't know who to put the title on. Yeah. Well, there's Charlotte, right?
Because Charlotte is consistent. She's consistently, they know that whoever they put her with, she'll have a good match with them.
Right.
And I don't blame WWE for being safe like that. Because they've given people the ball before and they've dropped it. A lot of people. Somebody like Bayley, if you remember when Bayley, they first started trying to push her, she sucked. She sucked at doing promos. She sucked in matches. And then she went, she kind of got a thing going with Sasha Banks, and they ended up having some good matches. But you don't worry about that with Charlotte, like, because like no matter who she faces, it's going to be a good match. She'll make it a good
I
match.
agree with that. I agree with that. So I think the people that are mad shouldn't be mad at Charlotte. They should be mad at WWE not trying to figure out how to build other stars so that Charlotte doesn't have to be the only safe option. And
Yeah.
I think it's gotten better. I think Rhea Ripley is now reliable, right?
Oh yeah.
I think she's pretty close to up there,
And that's
right?
that's what I don't
And they're
understand
building.
about the people that have so much hate for Charlotte. Charlotte, like she gave Rhea Ripley her flowers. She lost to Rhea Ripley, gave
Yes.
her the title.
Yes.
She's worked with Bianca Belair. She's worked with Rhea Ripley. She's worked with a lot of the top people. She's worked with Naomi and people like that. This last injury, they said, was the longest she's been out. Like, I don't think she's ever been out an entire year. So, obviously, like, I'm hoping with her winning the Royal Rumble, I'm hoping they go right into her in Tiffany Stratton. She hasn't officially announced it.
Yeah. Although I'd have to say, and I don't want to sound like the haters, as much as I think Charlotte's great, I don't think she should win against Tiffany Stratton.
I don't know yet. I'd have to see how the feud goes. If I'm not going to make a prediction on who I would hope wins that.
I mean, if Tiffany Stratton really brings it throughout the feud, and she seems believable that she's main event ready, I don't think that they should take the title off of her at WrestleMania. I think that Charlotte needs to pass the torch, as she did with Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
she's at the stage
of
her career.
That's my whole
doing
thing.
that.
Is Charlotte has passed the torch already multiple times.
And that's not to say that she doesn't deserve another title run.
If it's Charlotte being the normal Charlotte that we've seen so much already, then yeah, I do think Tiffany should win. But if it's Charlotte with a new attitude and she's a mega heel and like she can get fans to really hate her, I wouldn't be opposed to her getting the title off of Tiffany. And then Tiffany, there's sometimes where wrestlers are better chasing a title than being the champion. You know what I mean?
True, and it's unclear where Tiffany stands in that because we haven't seen enough of her yet to really make that call.
Real quick, Romeo McFlourish over on TikTok is asking, which number 30 was worse, men's or women's? So the women's number 30 was Nikki Bella, and the men's number 30 was...
Logan Paul.
Was it Logan? I thought Logan was 29. Okay,
no,
so Logan
was
Paul.
30.
I mean, in that respect, I'd have to say Nikki. Not that Nikki was bad, but if I'm comparing Nikki and Logan Paul, I'd have to say Logan Paul had a more impactful Royal Rumble entry.
I agree. I agree, except for the fact that I think that the people didn't like Logan Paul coming out on 30, not because Logan Paul is a controversial character in his own right. I think people had high expectations that it was going to be The Rock.
Yes, which was me. I was expecting it.
And when you see Logan Paul instead, that's like extra disappointing, and I can see why people are.
I didn't consider
that.
Logan a surprise though, because we knew he was coming.
Yes, he announced
that was
entry
one
to the
thing
Rumble.
that disappointed me with the men's is that, I mean, I don't want to just jump right into the men's, but I'll say this: like, they saved a lot of the big time people for the end. And, like, it kind of ruined the aspect of surprise because you knew Seth was coming, Cena was coming, Roman was coming, CM Punk was coming. And you could just see as the numbers piled up, you're like, oh, wait, there's no more surprises.
I was watching it.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more people supposed to be still in here.
So I was watching with my wife, and I predicted, like, the last 6 entrants. I was like, that's who's going to be next.
Well, it was predictable because you knew who was missing that already announced that they were going to be in it.
And even I knew the order. I could just tell the order in which they were trying to do it.
In my opinion, and I'll stop talking about the men's until we get into the men's section here. In my opinion, they should have split up those heavy hitter guys a little bit. They should have put one of them in at the first 5.
Yes.
Instead of like having them, they literally had them all come back to back.
Yeah.
They had Rollins, Reigns, CM Punk, and Cena all back to back. Yeah. Which I don't. It was a funny moment, I guess, and the fans loved it, but for the flow of the match, it didn't do them any favors for that. Not that it was a bad match, but it actually kind of ruined the flow of the match. Because what was
A
it?
little bit, yeah.
When CM Punk came out, he didn't even do anything until the buzzer started going for the next person to come in. Like
They had
there.
that happen a couple of times
Yeah.
where they taunted doing something, and then the buzzer was there, and it's like,
Yeah.
we'll just wait. Which is
Yeah.
like anti-Royal Rumble. Royal
Yeah,
Rumble
it
is
just
there's
kind of
action in the ring.
it wrecks with the flow a little bit.
There's action in the ring, and then all of a sudden somebody comes out. Why stop the action
Yeah,
just for the camera to pan who's coming out?
I agree.
It felt very strange.
Yes. So we had Charlotte winning the Women's Royal Rumble. I thought it was one of the best Women's Royal Rumbles that we've had.
Yeah,
They've only done them for like 7 years. I don't think many will ever top the first one. The first one was just special, and they had so many surprises because nobody knew what to expect. And they had just so many returns, and there was just a lot going on there. But this one is definitely in the top 3 for me. I want to say it's number 2, but something tells me if I really thought about it, there might be one that I liked a little more. But this one is definitely up there. The next match on the card was the tag team title match. One thing I'm going to say about this pay-per-view, and I'm not even a big tag team wrestling fan, much at all. Every match delivered on this pay-per-view, which is always good. It's always good when every single match delivers. There isn't one filler match. Because
there were only 4 matches.
Yes, there are only 4 matches. Yes, that's true. But still, there could have been a match that you didn't really care about and you could have used the restroom or something.
Well, if you go back to other Royal Rumbles, they would try to jam in like 6 or 7 matches into the pay-per-view
back before they had the Women's Rumble, yes. They would try to have 4 matches plus the Men's Rumble, usually
if
a
not
title
more
match.
than that.
And since the Women's Rumble came in, they have tried to fit in 3 or 4 matches in there.
Because I don't know if you noticed how long these Rumble matches were this time. They were probably one of the longest ones that I witnessed.
They typically go a little over an hour. I think
they were longer than that.
Well, no, I mean the women's I believe was an hour and 3 minutes or something like that because they did the exact times on the thing.
Yeah, the men's I know we didn't get there. That felt like close to almost an hour and 20.
Maybe after you consider the like afterbirth and everything, where like they're celebrating in the ring and all that stuff. Yeah, I guess you could
keep in mind that. they changed the rule, right?
Yeah,
that it was 2 minutes between entrances and not 90 seconds. Now, how much is that enforced? You know, is somebody sitting there with a stopwatch?
Yeah, one thing I definitely noticed. So they have more. They gave it more of like a professional sports feel. They gave you stats during the entire.
At the bottom, I actually really liked that. I really did like that.
You would think it'd be distracting, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It was small enough. It was big enough you could read it, but it was small enough it wasn't distracting from anything on the screen. Yeah. And this was telling you how many people have been eliminated, what number is coming up next. They would give you little stats at how many people a particular person eliminated and all different types of stats, how long somebody's been in the ring. Very cool stuff. That's like something you'd see in the NFL or something like that. So
I think they're trying to put themselves in that same shoe.
Yeah, that's TKO. That's TKO type stuff going on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I liked it. So the next match was the tag team title match. I didn't even realize it was a 2 out of 3 falls match until they announced it last night. And I was like,
no, they announced it on SmackDown.
Yeah, for some reason I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, the tag team title match, DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns. I'll be completely honest, like I wasn't too familiar with the Motor City Machine Guns outside of them debuting on SmackDown. I've heard of them. I may have seen clips of them here and there on the internet, but I never really watched much TNA. And so I wasn't really into that. I know that they had a stint. They came and did something in like NXT a couple years ago that I paid attention to. The tag match I thought was okay. Like I didn't have any issues with it. Not the biggest DIY fan, so I was kind of hoping for Motor City Machine Guns to win. But I think we both predicted that DIY was winning that one anyway.
Yes. I thought there was going to be more shenanigans from Pretty Deadly. But it turns out the
Yeah.
shenanigans were not from
Street
them.
Profits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the shenanigans we saw some sort of like fake tag type thing that
Yeah.
happened for the first fall. My only issue with something like that is like, okay, it's something for us watching on TV because they can explain it on commentary, but people watching in the crowd probably didn't understand what happened there. So I
It
think
happens
that
so fast and you can't
well,
see
and
it.
it's when you're in
Unless
the
you're up
crowd,
close.
yeah, you're not able to see. Hey, that was a fault. They didn't really tag.
Yeah.
It just seemed like some confusion there. But I guess it's okay since it's a TV production, so they can kind of fill in the
Right.
gaps. But if I was in the crowd, I wouldn't have really understood what happened there. I would have thought that the ref made a bad call or something like that.
Yeah, but you know what? That happens in sports. Sometimes in sports, there's nuance in certain plays
Yep.
that even when you're there live, you can't see it unless you're right there next to the action.
Yeah.
And seeing on TV, you actually get a better view.
Yeah. So that got a DIY the first fall. Overall, I thought the match was pretty good. It seemed like they had a lot of intensity during the match. I stayed invested in a tag match, so that tells me something that, they were putting in the work. They kept me interested in the match the entire time. Didn't really predict the ending with the Street Profits kind of getting involved. It almost looked like they were
Them
turning
was
heel.
was injured, or at least I thought they were injured, unless that was storyline injury.
Yeah.
So I thought they were going to be away for a while. Because WWE typically does that. If you have a tag team that doesn't function well independently and one of them's injured, they put both on the shelf for a while
Yes.
until there's an injury. So I don't know if the injury was ever real. But I almost forgot about them.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, Street Profits. I'm like, where the hell were they the last few months?
Yeah, honestly, like, I do think that Montez Ford could be a singles competitor someday. They got to give him the opportunity. I think they lost a little bit of their luster when Lashley left because they kind of partnered him up with Lashley and they had
Yeah,
something
they were
going.
trying to turn them a little bit more heel, and
Yeah.
then that fizzled out. And then
Yeah.
Street Profits were like, not heel, not face, somewhere in between, and it just,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make of them for a while.
Yeah. I always thought that they were a good team. Montez Ford, I really think could be like that team's Jeff Hardy. He could really be something.
Yeah.
But they kind of gotta let him do that, and I think they're comfortable being a tag team. But yeah, DIY ended up winning the match. There's some shenanigans with the Street Profits. You thought they were turning heel, but then they also attacked DIY at the end of it. So it's kind of like they went into business for themselves more so
Yes.
than turning heel. But, I mean, needless to say, they did cost Motor City Machine Guns that match, and DIY picked up the victory there. Anything else you have to share about that match before we move on to the ladder match?
My only gripe with Motor City Machine Guns is I think that they have really good coordinated tag team
Yes.
experience. I think that there's just something missing from the character. Feels just a little
Unfortunately, they
either
seem
generic or indie-ish, right?
That's the thing. They seem to, and I think WWE will probably correct this down the road, but they seem to be like kind of banking on this. Oh, everyone knows this from TNA type bullshit.
Yeah.
Where, yes, some people do know the TNA stuff. They're familiar with it, but there's a lot of casual fans in WWE who don't want to or don't have time to watch every single piece of wrestling that's available. Some people just watch WWE and they're not familiar with their old work. So WWE is going to have to correct that a little bit and give them their own like personality and educate
There's just
fans on who
something
they are.
a little lacking. Not I think it could be corrected. It's not like it's beyond saving. I just think that if they want to be stars, A-list stars, there's just something a little bit missing, some edge to them.
Yeah.
I think the vignettes they've been doing have helped. They're doing these tag team vignettes between them and DIY that give it a little edge. That's helping a little bit, but I still think that there needs to be a little bit of work.
Yeah.
And even for DIY, DIYs also needs a little bit of that.
Oh yeah.
I think that by them turning heel has helped them. I think
Yeah,
their
this is the
prior
first time I've seen
run,
them
yeah,
really try harder with DIY. They let them coast
yeah,
so long on the main roster,
yep.
just being these goofy characters and thinking that the fans are just going to get behind them. This is the first time that I've seen them actually put some focus on them and like try to get them to be main event stars instead of just these goofy guys that want to work with their friends or whatever.
I think what's not helping is like whatever they're doing between them and Pretty Deadly. I think is actually hurting DIY.
Yeah.
Because
Let's.
unless WWE's plan is to put Pretty Deadly in contention, like
Mhm.
and take them seriously, they seem like the joke tag team. And then if you put Pretty Deadly in the ring with any of the non-joke ones, it's gonna bring the other team down a little bit. So this
One.
DIY thing is like,
Yeah.
should I take that seriously? Is it a serious rivalry? Is there more to it,
One
or is it just
important thing to
comedic
say
shit?
on SmackDown, they are definitely focusing on tag teams.
Yes.
Something we can't say for Raw, unfortunately.
Drives, yeah, I was thinking that.
So, I mean, maybe down the line we'll see WWE kind of make SmackDown more of a tag team show and then Raw more. Who knows? It's like, it seems like they have a problem doing tag team wrestling on both shows. Like, and in my opinion, they really shouldn't have two sets of tag team titles.
I agree with that. It's like having two IC titles. You don't, right? I mean, I get
Yeah.
you have two world championship,
Yeah.
fine, and we've been down the road of them merging the titles, merging.
I know
Separating,
that's
but,
that's the problem. It's like
yeah.
it's hard for me to even think of suggesting that because they've done it so many times and they always go back on it later. So
I mean, on the women's side, you have one set of tag team titles.
yes,
Why not do it for the men's and let them cross?
I always like that. Like, dude, like even back when they first made the undisputed title, I liked the idea of the undisputed champion defending the title on both shows. That's how they used to do it, but then for whatever reason they are very insistent on having each show have their own separate titles. So
Yeah, I only half agree with that. Look, I know why it's done that way, right?
Yeah.
And it's these contracts they sign with Netflix, with USA, with
Yeah, they
whoever
want
that are
champions.
basically saying we want these champions to have X number of appearances at a minimum throughout the year in order to sign a big check. So my vision of the brand split should be, all right, your A-list stars, your Universal and Heavyweight champions, fine, have them separate shows, and once in a great while do they cross over during WrestleMania season and SummerSlam. And then your IC title and tag title and US title, they should cross brands as needed, right?
Yes.
Not exclusive to one.
Yeah.
And just make sure you evenly distribute the talent, right? Don't say IC titles always here or always there, or tags always here. Just try to figure out a way to distribute.
when they first did the undisputed title thing, they alternated it. So the month of November, let's say, this was back when Undertaker was undisputed champion, but
Yeah.
like Raw would have a number one contender for his title that would fight at the next pay-per-view. Then when that match happened, undisputed champion would defend it against a SmackDown competitor. And then when, let's say, SmackDown, it wasn't their month for the title shot, they would focus more on declaring a number one contender during that time. And then, like, it just would alternate back and forth. But eventually they just made it, they separated the titles and it just got done.
Right.
The tag team titles, I really think we just need one set, honestly.
I agree.
And then
There's not enough
they don't have
depth
enough
on the Raw
they don't
side.
have enough tag teams to split it between two shows. So have
I mean,
them
you have
all,
the Viking Raiders. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not bad. I like that they're getting more of a push, but
But I'd like to see Viking Raiders versus Motor City Machine Guns, not
yeah.
Chad Gable and Otis, you know?
Yeah. Does anybody remember what Viking Raiders were a couple of years ago, right? They were involved in some silly storylines where they're at a Renaissance fair.
Yeah, a Viking experience.
Exactly.
Uh,
You know, I'm glad that they've come out the other side, but
yeah.
I'm not entirely invested in them. You know, they have good in-ring talent, but they can't really cut a promo.
Yeah, I agree.
They're not going to open Raw. They're not going to open SmackDown.
Well, I mean, they've tried a couple different things with them. They even had Valhalla whatever happened to her? She like just went away after one of them got injured because they're back now. Where's Valhalla? Where's
Yeah,
the deer
I don't
mask
know.
or whatever?
I don't know. We haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah. So the next match on the card was the Cody Rhodes Kevin Owens ladder match, and this match was crazy. There was multiple points where I thought somebody was going to seriously get injured during this match, and it looked like
They must have really practiced those spots,
or just got very lucky. I do have some clips of a couple of the spots we'll run in a little bit here. But Cody Rhodes did end up becoming victorious in this match. He got a hold of both titles, so I think that maybe they'll put the old school WWF Heavyweight title back into retirement now. And Sami Zayn ended up getting involved in the match, but when I say get involved, not really. Like, he didn't really do much.
It was very confusing.
Yeah,
he was wearing all black. Hoodie, not in his ring gear, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody comes out in a black hoodie, that's usually meant to mean like you don't know what side they're on. Yeah. You don't know who they are. So black hoodie, nondescript. But then we all know it's Sammy, and he like checks on Kevin Owens, but that's about it.
Yeah, he came out. They made a point to make it known that he was out there, make fans question what his intentions were, and he just kind of was more of a distraction than anything. And Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, they kind of pushed themselves to the limits here.
It was a very entertaining match.
Some very big moments, very big spots.
One of the better ladder matches
that we've seen in WWE for a while.
Yeah, one-on-one. I should say better one-on-one ladder matches, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to compare this to the classic Hardys, Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, tag team. Yeah. That's a different animal. But
Missy,
your standard one-on-one ladder.
Yeah.
One-on-one ladder match is one of the best, or top tier.
So let's go through a couple of these spots here. These were probably the three biggest spots I saw during the match. So we had Kevin Owens suplexing Cody Rhodes pretty much through a ladder here. Let's take a look at this real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, these guys were really putting it on the line. Fisherman Buster, they call it.
Yes. I don't know how you do that in a safe way. And don't need medical attention.
Try to make sure he doesn't fall completely on his neck. I guess that's the safest way.
His back took most of the brunt.
Yeah,
but
try to get it on his back as much as possible.
Zero padding.
No padding. Even if the ladder isn't necessarily made out of metal, even if it's fucking plastic or whatever, that's still gonna hurt. There's nothing. There's no way to make that.
I don't know what it was made out of. It didn't bend.
Because those ladders, regardless if they made them lighter or whatever, they're still climbing on them, so they can obviously take some weight. So they got to be built out of something. I wouldn't want to do that, but maybe if I was making as much money as they were, I would. But
yeah,
there's no way to really make that not hurt. Then we have Kevin Owens doing a power bomb to Cody Rhodes through a ladder. Let's check this out.
Kevin Owens has Cody Rhodes up top. Owens down.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Back of his head and neck.
So that didn't. Let's look at that again. It looked like he hit the back.
That almost looked, I wouldn't say botched, but just the landing wasn't as clean.
Definitely,
as
he landed like on his shoulders. It looked like. Oh, yeah. It's hard to watch some of that stuff sometimes.
Yeah. I'm guessing you have a clip at the end.
Oh, yeah. So at one point, it looked like that they were teasing that they were actually going to call the match off.
Yes.
And then they ended up keep going.
That's when Sami Zayn came out, and I thought, okay, shenanigans.
So that was kind of his cue to get out there, I guess. And then, the very end of the match. This is crazy. The very end. This is what incapacitated Kevin Owens and allowed Cody Rhodes to get up the ladder and get the titles.
Right here. No.
Kevin Owens was going for his package pile driver.
We knew they weren't going to do it on the table because there's no safe way to do that.
I love the Alabama Slam. More people need to use this move.
Yes.
Such a good move. Oh, gee. That still has to hurt.
Yes.
Still has to hurt.
So I had a weird prediction during the match. So when Sami Zayn first came out after the fisherman suplex thing on the ladder, right?
Yeah.
I thought, like you said a minute ago, they were going to try to call the match.
Yeah.
And I thought, and I don't know if this is like legal in WWE terms, but I thought Sami Zayn was going to go full on, just take the titles. Just be like, all right, you know
Just
what?
take 'em.
They can't compete. Is there a rule that says that he's not in the match? He can't just take them down and then
They've
make
never
everybody
really
wonder
done that.
who won the match and then
Yeah.
continued on Raw.
Honestly,
SmackDown,
when he
rather.
came out and everything, I thought maybe they were going to try to do something so that technically they couldn't say that Kevin Owens lost and have Sami Zayn like just throw in the white towel and be like, give up the match for Kevin Owens. Which they've done things like that before.
Yes,
and I think
true.
it would have progressed the storyline between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, where Kevin still thinks he's a champion because he never officially lost that match. And
you think this is the end of the feud? And Cody, I'm
between
guessing
Cody and
on.
Kevin, I think so.
Yeah, because they did something at the end, and I'm gonna assume you don't have a clip of this. And I noticed something a little telling, and maybe I'm reading too much into it. But Cody goes back on the announce table.
Yeah, he poses like over Kevin a little bit.
And that's a heel-ish,
A little bit.
Little bit, right? Usually, like in a match like that, it's you give respect to your opponent, even though Kevin Owens was acting like a complete piece of shit during the feud. Usually, it's a bury the hatchet moment, or you just walk away and don't try to like brag that you won, almost like a sore winner. He's almost acting like a sore winner a little bit, and I don't know.
Definitely an interesting choice. The kind of when I saw it, I thought it was odd, but I kind of just saw it as maybe they're trying to get like a good picture of like Cody standing.
He could have stood. He could, because you know what? There was no stage.
Yeah,
unlike
that's what I thought maybe it was, but you might be right. It might be a little bit of a heel type thing there.
I feel like he's destined for something like that. I think his face run is a little generic. Like I think it brought out some anger in him with the Kevin Owens feud.
Yeah.
But I think that besides the Kevin Owens feud, his run seems very reminiscent of a John Cena, right? And it's like, okay, we've seen John Cena, and we know that John Cena is John Cena, but we don't want another John Cena, right? It's like, okay, John Cena gets the free pass because he's a Hall of Famer, and Cody probably will be someday, but I think Cody's run felt a little generic, and maybe it's time for a character change. Just a little bit.
So one interesting thing that they announced yesterday after the match, during the post-show, I think, they said something about Cody Rhodes would not be at the press conference because he was at a medical facility. And they even hinted that he might be like injured, as in out of action injured. Whether that's
I feel like it's a
legit thing or a work or not, I don't know. It was just interesting that they mentioned that.
But here's my take on that. If they have long-term plans, when I say long-term, meaning a WrestleMania feud written of what the next step is going to be for him, would they have really taken such risks at the ladder match that could have risked him being injured, that risks throwing away your WrestleMania plans and be like, now we can't have Cody and whatever match is next for him?
One thing
would
with
they
Cody
really taken that risk?
One thing with Cody is he kind of gets in his own way. And we've seen Cody, like, he wrestled that cage match when he had his entire pec, like, ripped out. Like,
Yeah, but that happened during the match, though. Like,
no, I'm talking about the time where he came to the match when he had the injury already.
Oh. That one, okay.
Like, Cody is somebody that, like, he has too much pride, and he does things just to do things, and he thinks he can work through injuries and stuff like that, and WWE kind of has to step in. It's it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that he got injured during that match, finished the match, and then WWE demanded that he get checked out or something, and then they found out that he.
But if they have really critical plans for him for WrestleMania, why take the risk of such a risky match that risks injury for him? You know,
it's Who knows? Maybe they wanted to have a good ladder match. They wanted to put on a good show. WWE's getting in a position now where it's almost like the Attitude Era, where like everybody's trying to top everybody else. And it's the
true,
Royal Rumble.
yeah.
If you're trying to top the Rumble matches with all the surprises and the drama and everything going on, you don't have many options but to put on a crazy ladder match or something like that.
Yeah.
So that might be what they were trying to do, maybe as a solid for Kevin Owens to give him a good match before he gets out of the title picture.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. And they
Like
didn't say anything about Kevin Owens, and I would have expected Kevin Owens to be more injured than Cody.
That is interesting that Kevin Owens looked there almost lifeless, but they gave us an update that Cody might be injured.
Yeah, and they said nothing about Kevin Owens. It was just really strange. That's what makes me think it's a work.
Yeah.
It's just something about it seems fishy.
We'll see. We'll see, because we have some more to talk about in regards to possibly Cody's title later. So the only other match after that was the Men's Royal Rumble. The Men's Royal Rumble. And I thought that the Men's Rumble had a little more surprises in it than the Women's Rumble. Not necessarily because of the surprise guests that came out, but just some of the things that were happening in the Men's Rumble.
I agree. Yes.
This one definitely had more drama. It had more storytelling going on.
It sets up for a lot of potential feuds.
Yes, that we
Things
got
that you wouldn't even have thought.
a lot of stuff going on in the Men's Rumble here. So the first two they started with was Penta and Rey Mysterio, which I thought was a good choice. I think fans are looking to see those two face off. Maybe at WrestleMania, we'll have to wait and see. Penta is he's got a rocket set to him right now, and WWE is on board with it. So they're going to see how far they could take him. And having him be number 2 in the Rumble and last as long as he did, I think he lasted close to an hour. It's a really good choice. And you put him, he's kind of new to the WWE world, but you put him in situations you probably wouldn't see him in on Raw. You saw him in the ring with somebody like Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker and things like that. And Sheamus, we saw him going with Sheamus. Like, you saw kind of a clash of styles a little bit. One interesting thing with the Men's Rumble is they started out with not just Rey Mysterio and Penta, but they started out with a lot of like Lucha Libre going on.
Yes.
And I think maybe they were trying to play into the whole story with Chad Gable, where he's trying to
that's what I thought. Yes.
get rid of him. But there was a lot of that going on during the match. The one thing, and me and you talked about this a little bit before we came on air, with the Men's Rumble is they saved a lot of the big names for like the middle, which I didn't really agree with, because the whole thing with me and the Royal Rumble is I like the surprises. I like not knowing when people are coming out. I like the being surprised at who's coming out. And I like just the mishmash of different people that you wouldn't see in the ring together. And something weird that they did in this Rumble was they had John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, even like to a point Drew McIntyre. They all came out around the same time. And 4 of them came out back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
And they kind of like did a stare down or whatever. And for the live crowd, you know, they were very excited about it, but I feel it kind of ruined the flow of the match a little bit because everything stopped for them to have that little showdown, stare down or whatever. I don't have too many complaints. I thought both Rumble matches were really good. That was my main complaint there, was that they kind of ruined the flow a little bit by having everything stop because they had all those big names come out all at the same time, which was odd.
And your prediction for the winner did not happen. Came close.
No.
But did not happen. And my prediction...
Well, I mean, my main prediction was The Rock, which didn't come close to happening. But I said my alternate would have been John Cena.
John Cena.
Yeah.
So, and I had a tie. I can't give myself full credit. I said it was Sami Zayn or Jey Uso. if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. It happened to be Jey Uso, and I had a dark horse pick, which actually was, if you paid attention to the commentary, was Michael Cole's dark horse pick, which was Jacob Fatu.
Yes, I remember you said Jacob Fatu.
And Michael Cole
He
said it too on
probably
the
had,
broadcast.
yeah, he probably had the best showing at the Rumble, to be honest. Fatu and Braun Breaker probably had two of the best showings, and I even think that those two went at it for a little bit with each other. That will be a great match someday. If they could ever get those two to, like, right now they're on two different shows, but Jacob Fatu and Braun Breaker, that's like money written all over it.
Absolutely.
That would be a great match to have. Oh God, one of the dumbest surprises, and maybe it's just dumb because I'm not really into it. So they had Tozawa coming out, and immediately he got beat up by Escobar. Is that his name? Or something?
Yes.
The one dude. So the one guy from the one Mexican group, I forget the name.
Legado del Fantasma.
Del Fantasma or whatever. He got eliminated, the main guy. And as he was walking up the ramp, Tozawa comes out, and the Phantasma guy just kind of clotheslines him from behind and somehow injures.
It wasn't him. Wasn't it Carmelo Hayes?
Oh. Was it Carmelo Hayes? I could have swore it was that Phantasmal guy.
Oh, no, maybe you're right. Now I forgot. I totally forgot now.
No, Carmelo Hayes. He got eliminated. Like, it stuck out when he got eliminated. Because it was just kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I think it was the guy from that group. I don't think it was Carmelo Hayes. You might be right, though. But regardless, so they take out Tozawa. And I thought, right away, I was like, okay, that's The Rock's chance of getting in. They're going to take him out.
Feeling you would have said that.
Yeah, they're going to have people forget that Tozawa is taken out. They're going to continue running the Rumble to go to number 30. And people are going to, like, wonder why all of a sudden the countdown is going again and somebody's coming out, and it'll be The Rock. But
I mean, I held out hope for your prediction. I really did. And then I thought, okay, I was checking, like, Twitter and stuff towards the end of the Rumble when the last few were out, and people were like, okay, what if The Rock just comes out as number 31? Like, he breaks the rules because he's part of TKO.
He just makes it.
And they were all like,
number 31.
yeah, and just be like, for this year, I'm special, better than everyone, and I'm going to do my own thing and come out and win. Because obviously you wouldn't come out number 31 and lose.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not going to do a 31-person Rumble every year. It would just be for this year.
Imagine the heat he would have got if they did the whole Jey Uso wins the thing, celebrates, points at the sign, fireworks go off, then The Rock comes out, and he comes out like he normally does. Final boss, he does the whole thing. He just stands, and it looks like maybe he's going to, like, shake his hand or give him a hug, and he just grabs
throws
him
out of the ring.
Throws him out, and the bell rings again. Oh my God, the fans would go nuts. It would be a good way to get him as a heel again, all over again.
Oh boy!
Oh, they would be so angry about that. But then the problem with that would have been then they would have wanted Jey Uso versus The Rock or something, and yeah, that's fantasy booking right there. But what we were talking about, so Tozawa gets taken out, and they go backstage. They show Tozawa getting walked back there, and all of a sudden you see Triple H. And he gets up and he says, "Speed, you're in the Rumble." So Speed is this, like, Twitch streamer, social media influencer guy. He's actually been a part of WWE before. He was Logan Paul's prime bottle at WrestleMania last year. He was the guy in the suit.
Yeah.
But so he just kind of goes into the Rumble to replace Tozawa. And he goes out there, and he actually
it was Carmelo Hayes, by the way.
It was Carmelo Hayes. Okay,
I just looked it up.
Carmelo Hayes. He took out Tozawa.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
So ISO Speed actually eliminates Otis. Well, he helps Braun Breaker eliminate Otis. And then ISO Speed is kind of celebrating in the ring. He does a backflip of all things. I guess he was a gymnast at some point. And fucking Braun Breaker does like one of the ugliest spears that we've seen since like Goldberg in WCW. Like careless Goldberg in WCW.
Yes.
And when I say ugly, I don't mean like botched. I mean like unprotected, like not giving a shit, just like I have a clip of it, so let's play the clip.
Because here's the thing: it takes two to tango, right?
Yeah.
For a good spear, a spear to look good, right?
Yeah.
The person taking it also has to like have themselves land properly. And ISO Speed, obviously.
Let's see if he lands properly here.
Yeah.
Let me play this clip right now, and you guys let me know if he lands properly. So this is after he just eliminated Otis. Let's get this full screen. Here, let's replay that real quick.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How much money would you have to get paid to take a spear from Braun Breaker?
Nothing under 50,000. And the medical bills would have to be covered. Medical bills would have to.
You're wearing no protective gear. You're like a standard wrestler.
Yeah.
Just take it on the chin.
And that wasn't it, by the way. Like he got bench pressed over Braun Breaker's head and thrown out of the ring. Otis called him, and I thought, okay, they're gonna do something stupid where Otis like.
I thought so to a Kofi Kingston.
But then Otis just kind of did the fall away slam and like threw him over the table. Yep. He got messed up.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why, but we have a little bit of an interview with ISO Speed after the show here, and here's ISO Speed's comments on what happened at the Royal
Rumble here tonight. How do you feel like you fared considering all of the elements and odds stacked against you?
If I had more time. I don't know why they keep doing this to me. If I had more time, I promise you, I could do way more than y'all think I would. Next Royal Rumble, I'm calling out everybody. Roman Reigns, Mark Henry, Rey Mysterio, Dom. It don't matter who you are.
Mark Henry's retired.
So
just wait till I start training.
I think ISO Speed might have gotten knocked loopy a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think he could lift Mark Henry's left foot.
Well, he got speared so bad that he called out Mark Henry. He thought Mark Henry's. I'm surprised he didn't call out Orange the Giant too. Like he.
I mean, maybe he meant in his defense. Maybe
Joe
he meant
Hendry?
Big Mark.
Oh
no, maybe he meant Big Mark.
Maybe he meant Big Mark from
Yeah.
Don't make me play that clip again.
Yeah, exactly.
Could you imagine if Big Mark came out in the Royal Rumble? Oh, so okay. So that was ISO Speed. He kind of little bit of a funny moment during the Rumble. Not funny for him though. That looked very painful. So we also had some controversy during the Rumble, and apparently Drew McIntyre is in his feelings again. Seems to be a yearly ritual for him. I think maybe he's trying to do what he did last year and try to weasel his way into like a WrestleMania feud or something. But so Drew McIntyre had an elimination in the Rumble here, and I'm going to show it real quick. He got eliminated by Damian Priest. Looks like they might be setting up something between him and Priest, but let's look at his elimination real quick. McIntyre seems to be upset that, let me play it again, that Mr. LA Knight kind of got in the way during this clip. So let's get into the, let's go here. And you'll see when Priest comes running for Drew, LA Knight is kind of in the way, bumps into him, whatever. It looked more like maybe a missed timing. It looked like just some bad timing. Like some things you can't control. Not everything.
It's a Royal Rumble match.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be.
People are going to trip over each other a little bit.
Yes.
But Drew McIntyre had a little fit, apparently, stormed out, left the building, said that LA Knight was not he was going into business for himself, trying to get his moves in, and not paying attention to what's actually happening in the
But
Rumble.
everybody else does in the Rumble. That's the whole
Yeah.
point now, is that every time you see at least a big enough star, they give them the 2 to 3 minutes to do their little moves.
Yeah.
And then they move on to the next person. So everybody gets their shot. I don't
True.
think LA Knight was going beyond.
Yeah, I think there
it
was
was
just
a
a little bit of
Yeah.
miscommunication. That's all. But Drew McIntyre seemed to take exception to that.
I mean, it'd be different if Drew got, like, I don't know, accidentally eliminated as a result. Like, there was supposed to be a different spot where he held on.
What people on
and
the
that
internet,
miscommunication made him.
Yeah, people on the internet
eliminated
were
or
trying to
something?
say that he wasn't supposed to get eliminated there, but I pointed out
That looked pretty legit to me.
I pointed out right away. I said the graphic popped up immediately when we got eliminated. They were obviously waiting
Yes.
for it. The graphic
And the
like, if
Damien
it-
Priest stare down looked like that was
Yeah,
intentional.
that
not
was.
like,
It looked like that was supposed to happen. It looked like the only thing that wasn't supposed to happen was
the bump
they weren't
into each
supposed
other.
to bump into each other.
Which didn't look like it affected anything at all,
No,
except
just a
they
little bit
bumped.
timing issue.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So Drew McIntyre is just on. It's that time of the month for Drew, Royal Rumble season. If he's not injuring CM Punk, he's crying and storming out of the building. So we'll see what happens with Drew. Maybe he'll get his way and get into a WrestleMania main event again. Who knows? Something else that happened at the Rumble, I got a clip of that we'll have to see here. Let's see.
What a force, Fatu.
Joe Hendry came out as one of the surprises for TNA coming out. So my whole thing here, Joe Hendry, he's a good internet sensation. He is not, and I apologize to anybody I offend by saying this, he is not main event level WWE talent in the ring. He's got a character, he's fun. You know, people like to chant with the theme song and everything. He's got a funny character. When it comes to main eventing, he is not main roster material in WWE. Not NXT,
you know who he looks like?
Sure. What's that?
He looks like Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Like, had offspring, and that's him.
Yeah. You saw it last night. Like, okay, the entrance crowd was all hyped for it and everything. And then once he got in the ring, he kind of had the Ultimate Warrior effect where it's kind of the entrance is big, the crowd loves it, but his ring work just isn't there. It's like you go in the ring in the Royal Rumble and the first thing you do is like a headlock and a suplex. Like he didn't even really have moves to focus with, and like he didn't come in there as a ball of energy or anything. He's just kind of came in there, and I think mainly what took part of his whole thing once he got in the ring was Sheamus just like standing there watching and clapping for him. Like he kind of just didn't really bring anything to the table after his entrance, and
Yeah, I agree.
it's like I guess it's a cool moment for him, but it's like I don't see that going anywhere but just that Rumble appearance. I don't really see him being a WWE mainstay or anything like that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, he's a nice guy. So once we had the big names in the ring, we had Cena, we had Seth Rollins, we had Roman Reigns, we had CM Punk. There was a big deal with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins getting eliminated by CM Punk. And then CM Punk ended up getting eliminated by Logan Paul, which I think is important to note. So I have some video of CM Punk being eliminated by Logan Paul. This all happened within seconds of each other. This is directly
it was pretty back to back. Yeah.
This is directly after CM Punk eliminated Rollins and Roman Reigns. Right here.
The hatred between those two cost both of them this match. Well, CM Punk
And then, boom, Logan Paul eliminates CM Punk. Pretty rough landing for CM Punk. But unfortunately, that's part of the problem when you have somebody like Logan in the ring who isn't a well-seasoned like wrestler. He doesn't realize, hey, you got to protect somebody like CM Punk a little bit when you're throwing him over the top rope because he is in his 40s. You know, you don't want to throw him over like he's a young guy.
Right.
especially when they're investing that much money into somebody like that. So hopefully he's okay. It looked like a rough landing, and yeah. So after that, there was a little spat, or should I say splat, with
Yes.
Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk
Yes.
outside of the ring. Here we go. And this obviously looks like it's setting up something for WrestleMania between at least two of these. Oh, God.
Ooh. Oh.
That's hard to see because it looked like he actually used both feet. If you
Both
look,
feet,
let's watch
yeah.
again. So I
And he
I
did
think,
it. And he did it a minute or two later on the steps.
Yeah. So I think I see how they did it. It looked like Roman's kind of smacked his hands on the ground and had his head down before the real impact happened. But it still looked pretty devastating. Good Cranmere angle on that. And then CM Punk and him brawled. And then, Rollins did do it again on the ring
On the
steps
steel
to
steps.
Roman again. I think at the very least that's setting up Roman and Seth at WrestleMania. At the most, possibly a triple threat between him, Roman, and CM Punk. But I think there's a possibility that they pivot to CM Punk and Logan Paul. And I think seeing Logan Paul eliminate CM Punk is just the beginning of that happening. I think that the CM Punk Logan Paul thing there is going to maybe manifest itself into something at Elimination Chamber. Maybe they're both in the Elimination Chamber match. And maybe we see Punk screw Logan out of the Elimination Chamber match. And then Logan does something to Punk after that. Who knows?
Where do you see the favor that Paul Heyman owes him?
I
Do you see that coming up as part of WrestleMania? Or is that a way longer term situation?
It's hard to
beyond
tell.
WrestleMania?
It's hard to tell. Maybe the favor will be getting CM Punk in the match with Rollins and Reigns. The main event.
That's it? That's the favor? I mean, I guess the
main
favor
event,
is just
like, because
to get him in the main event because he's never had a main event at
of night
WrestleMania.
one or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Well, that's a whole other thing that we're gonna have to talk about. So we went into all that, the whole thing with Roman, Seth, and Punk. John Cena and Jey Uso ended up being the last two in the Rumble. John Cena ended up eliminating Logan Paul. Congratulations, there you go. And yeah, Cena and Uso ended up being the last two. And they got me. They fooled me. I thought that Cena was going to end up winning the whole thing. Obviously, I thought that they were going to have Jey Uso look good, put up a fight. But I thought in the end, Cena was going to pull it off. We're going to have the happily ever after moment with Cena winning his last Royal Rumble ever. And they surprised me. So they were doing a little back and forth on the apron. And eventually, the super kick. Cena almost falls over. Cena punches Uso, he almost falls out. And then Cena picked him up for the FU. I thought that was going to be it. I thought Cena was going to FU him outside of the ring. We were going to have the big John Cena victory. And Uso ends up kind of slipping off of Cena's back into the ring. And then he just kicks Cena off the apron. Cena comes down. Uso wins the entire Royal Rumble. That was one that wasn't even in my realm of thinking. That wasn't even a realm of possibility. Me thinking about that. I did not see Jey Uso winning the Rumble. I thought maybe he'd be final three. I did not think that he would win the whole thing. So they surprised me there. Not bad to be surprised these days in WWE. To be honest.
I do have a bone to pick, and unfortunately I don't have a clip because you're the clip guy, right?
Yeah.
So did you see his press conference afterwards on the post show?
With who?
Jey Uso's press conference.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a bone to pick that I'm a little I don't know if this is intentional by him in WWE, but I don't know if he's bordering on having Tourette's because he's saying yeet every third word.
So the problem with Jey Uso.
It's good to have a catchphrase, the yes movement and all, but
So
it's
the
a little
problem
too
with
much.
Jey is he likes to indulge in beverages, especially after matches. So what you saw there was likely a little buzzed Jay after
Oh, you think
winning.
so?
Yeah, almost every press conference he's like buzzed. I guess he
Okay.
has drinks after the matches, so
Okay,
he kind
okay.
of obviously he was trying to keep his cool during that because he just won the Rumble. He's going to main event WrestleMania, so he wants to be professional. But clearly, he was still a little
Okay.
there a little bit.
And my only other issue with the Rumble in general that I think it's a kind of a good problem to have. I just think they have to be careful with the wording.
Yeah.
Is that do you see a distinction when they say, "Oh, and you run the Rumble and now you have a title shot," versus you won the Rumble and now you main event WrestleMania? Because now you have a problem of more title shot opportunities than main event possibilities at WrestleMania. Unless you make the argument that WrestleMania is so big that almost every match is a main event.
That I think that's what they always try to say, but it doesn't feel that way. We've been kind of forced to believe that the main event is always the last match, and some people don't even agree that like the night one main event is a main event. They think that the night two last match is the main event of WrestleMania.
Because what if WWE does the women's title on night one and one of the men's title?
There's
on
a
night
lot
two?
of people that argue that that's supposed to happen, which I don't
Right?
always necessarily agree with. My whole
I'm not saying
thing,
it has to be that way, but it
Yeah.
could be that way.
I think some of the newer people to wrestling, like newer wrestling fans, they take it literal that the women's should be night one, men should be night two because they won Royal Rumble. But people that have watched wrestling for God knows how long, I've watched for God knows how long, you know that things change, and that the WWE especially will always go with what fans want to see the most will be the main event.
It gets the biggest pop. It's going to be the biggest pop.
We've seen
Yeah.
title matches not be in the main event because there was
Yes.
a bigger match.
Yeah.
The Rock versus John Cena in Miami, WrestleMania
Yes.
28. That wasn't a title
Yes.
match.
Right.
But that's what fans wanted to see, so that's what they put
Yeah.
as the main event. And that's how WWE will always be. They're not going to worry about if somebody's offended with what the placement of a match is. You know, they just
Yeah.
want to put on a good show that has a good chemistry that makes sense to them. And
I just point that out because of Jey Uso, he might go after like somebody like Gunther, but that's not guaranteed to be the main event. Will it be a main event
Yes.
caliber match? Most likely, yes.
Yeah.
They'll put on a fantastic match. Will it be the last match of either night one or night two? I don't know if we know that for sure.
it's going to be a challenge for WWE. That's how I'm going to look at it. Like,
That's why I said it's a good problem.
make me want to believe that Jey Uso and Gunther should be a main event. Right now,
Yeah,
I would say I'm more interested in the Roman, Seth, and CM Punk stuff. I'd rather see that as one of the main events.
But to your point, I do want to see Jey and Gunther. I think it's a main event caliber match.
Yes,
But
WrestleMania
maybe
though?
isn't the main event of WrestleMania. No, I think it's WrestleMania
see,
worthy.
I don't see Jey Uso and Gunther being WrestleMania Night 2 main event. No.
No, but it's
maybe.
WrestleMania worthy.
Night 1 maybe.
But it's WrestleMania worthy. Like, to me, WrestleMania is supposed to be high caliber matches
Yeah.
in some fashion all across the board. WrestleMania in the last few years should no longer be about filler. Oh, we need a filler match. It should be your best of the best.
Yeah. I think
Are at
this
the
year
top
they
of their
might
game.
be able to do that this year. But the thing is, like, they get themselves in situations where they're trying to make so many people happy. They want to
Yeah.
put as many people on the card as possible. So unfortunately, they put themselves in a situation where they have to do filler matches, or else not everybody will be on the card. So they have to do multi-man tag matches, ladder matches.
True, but last year's WrestleMania, I mean, maybe there was one match that didn't feel
There was a couple.
main event caliber. Two, maybe?
Well,
But-
okay, so you had the LWO versus. You remember the match LWO versus
okay,
whoever?
fair enough.
And
I
then
think if they didn't bring in the Eagles folks,
the
it
Philly
would have been a
Street
snooze fest.
fight one. Some would say even the tag team title ladder match was kind of a filler with some of the people they had in there. And then they had the multi-woman tag match with Jade and Bianca and Naomi. Like
But it was for a title, but it was for a title, so I don't necessarily qualify that as pure filler, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was still somewhat main event caliber to me. You know? I think the match that didn't fit, oddly enough, was the Jay versus Jimmy last year.
That one definitely.
It felt oddly placed. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they didn't have beef with each other. I just felt like that wasn't WrestleMania worthy yet because they really didn't have much of a build until the last minute. So my point with WrestleMania is that in the last few years they've done really. We've seen WrestleManias of the past where like they put all the comedic crap in, and it's a 6-7 hour before they went to 2 nights. Yeah. It's a 7-hour ordeal, and there's maybe 2 good matches on the whole card, and the rest of it is like, what is going on? The last few WrestleManias haven't felt like that. They felt like a majority of the show was either main event caliber matches, or they bring in some surprise that is unique to make up for a non-main event caliber match. Like you said, some of those tag team matches, maybe not WrestleMania worthy, but they brought in talent from the outside, local to the area, to make it feel special. So this WrestleMania is going to feel like that. I don't know if there's going to be a true dud match. Yeah. They're going to have a lot of competition for what we're going to say is the main event of WrestleMania, or one of the main events of WrestleMania.
Mr. Chonk, you have Marissa, quote unquote, Naps says hi.
Okay.
I don't know who that is, but
I have a feeling I may know.
They say hi. Mr. Chonk doesn't have a chat open for some reason. Mr. Chonk, we need you to you gotta start like having a window, like just have it on mute, but so you can read chat also.
Is that from YouTube or TikTok?
YouTube. That's on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, so like kind of like going on with the WrestleMania predictions. So when you think of like what's going to happen at WrestleMania, you have to factor in a lot of different things here. So Roman is going to have a featured match. Logan Paul is going to have a featured match. John Cena, featured match. CM Punk's featured match. Cody Rhodes, title match.
See what I mean? Like, these are all main event caliber matches.
So
they all can't be the main event.
Yeah, I'm just looking at people that need to have a match on WrestleMania, or else people are going to wonder what the hell is going on. Kevin Owens, you would think he needs to be in a featured match now. Obviously, you want to see tag teams represented, so there's going to be some sort of tag team match at some point or another on there. Jey Uso, we already know, is going to be in a title match. I guess one person that was missing last night was Solo. What is going on with Solo? Where's he been? He lost
and no Randy Orton yet.
Yeah, Randy Orton.
You had some bold predictions with Randy Orton getting involved, and that did not materialize.
He's got some unfinished business with Kevin Owens, so we'll see what happens with that. Kevin Owens, I think, my prediction is maybe something with him and Sami Zayn, maybe something with him and Orton.
I had the same prediction, a 3-way between all 3 of them.
Maybe. We'll have to see when Orton gets back involved. My new prediction with Logan Paul is possibly him versus CM Punk. I think that could work. But I think it needs to be a slow build. Like, they don't need to have 3 months of them building up to this. I think they can work it out so that right now we're not thinking about it. We saw the elimination by Logan Paul at the Royal Rumble last night, and maybe we see them cross paths again at Elimination Chamber. But I think eventually when they can lock them into a match together, I think their promos are going to be some must-see television. If they go that route.
I had John Cena versus Logan Paul because John Cena eliminated him, and that was my prediction for John Cena.
I think it'll happen, but not at WrestleMania. I do not think John Cena's last WrestleMania appearance will be against Logan Paul. And I'll show you a big reason why right now, because I forgot to play this a second ago. John Cena, we'll get back into our WrestleMania predictions, our early WrestleMania predictions in a moment. But let me just play this because it makes sense to play it now. So after the Royal Rumble, John Cena had a little moment where he was in the press conference, but he didn't want to take any questions. He just wanted to make a statement. And let's listen to the statement right here. And let me know what you think about this, Mr. Trump, because you tell me what you think of the tone of the statement that he's saying is. Let's go.
Tonight was special.
Okay.
For many reasons. But it has begun to sink in that
Hold on, I'm
it was
trying
my
to
last Royal
turn it
Rumble.
up a little bit.
And that Las Vegas, and looking at the sign when it was down to 2, and I had a moment to let the energy sink in, I realized that Las Vegas is my last WrestleMania. The last time I main evented a WrestleMania was 2013. That's a long time ago. The reason that hasn't been at the forefront in my mind, I've been a gimmick, I've been the first match, I've been in the middle, I've shared beers with the fans. Because my truth, my perspective is I've always done what's best for business. Tonight, standing in that ring, I wanted this experience to be a tour of goodwill. I've openly admitted I don't know how much I have left in the tank, and I just wanted to do something that would be nice for all of us to get together and have a good time. Unfortunately tonight, it dawned on me that that's not best for business. What is best for business is I main event WrestleMania. And what is best for business is, for the first time, I confidently say that I'm going to win a 17th championship. So I'm announcing tonight that I will compete in the Elimination Chamber. And I'm saying that because after 23 years of loyal service to this company, I feel that opportunity is earned. And yes, I'm flying back to Hungary to film a movie, so what I'm going to do is give my 5 other opponents 1 month to slander my name and bolster their self-confidence the best that I can. I told Toronto when I announced my retirement that I was grateful for the city and I would be back. And I would be back to kick ass. It is time to walk that talk and be who I say I am. I am going to the Elimination Chamber to win, and I'm going to main event my final appearance in WrestleMania and win a 17th championship, because that's what's best for business. And I say that because it is not best for my ego. It is not best for my business. I have built my existence here off of hard work, loyalty to this company, and respect for all of its branches. I will win 17 not for me. I will win 17 to someday shake the hand of the person who wins 18. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so what did you think of the tone of that announcement from Cena?
I get it. I'm not buying it. I gave you my long poll prediction for the rest of this year for John Cena, and I stick by it because it's come true so far. Which was I predicted he'd be down to the final couple in Royal Rumble and come oh so close and not win it. And I'm giving you my prediction for Elimination Chamber. He will be down to the final 2 in Elimination Chamber and come oh so close and not win Elimination Chamber. He will have a top spot at WrestleMania, but not for the title. I think he will then make a similar promise, and he will go to, when's the next opportunity? Money in the Bank. He will go to the Money in the Bank. Come oh so close and not win it, and keep saying, I'm going to win that 17th. It's best for business. Blah, 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 blah. Right? And it's going to come down to the wire, because that's how John Cena works. Right? What he says eventually comes true, but it's always down to the wire. Right? And there'll be some tournament, something, whether it's King of the Ring, whatever it is, and it'll be down to the wire. And one of the last major events of the year is when he will win it. And it won't be for long, because I still stand by my prediction of he will win it. He'll have it for maybe a week, 2 weeks, something like that, so he can cut his promos on the Raw, SmackDown, the final ones of the year, And my prediction is his last televised event will be a Saturday night main event in December, and he will get cashed in on by whoever wins Money in the Bank this year. Whether that'll be a surprise cash in, or that person will announce it ahead of time, because that's happened before, right? And we've already established, I don't know if we established on the podcast, but I've heard it before, where WWE's kind of unofficially said that the whole guaranteed rematch clause when you lose a title is out of the window, right?
Yeah, they
People
don't
used to believe-
necessarily do that anymore. Not
Exactly.
guaranteed. Like it's happened where there's been
Right.
a rematch, but it's
So
not
so
guaranteed.
John Cena's last televised match will be he loses the title to the Money in the Bank contract owner, right?
Mhm.
And he does his final promo, salute, maybe he shakes the hand whoever won it.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's my long poll. I could be wrong, just like you had the bold predictions about The Rock, right? I could be wrong. But I think that tells a broader story of John Cena's always been better as the chaser, right? The come from behind story. He'll finally get it. We don't need him holding on to it for 6 months. I don't think there's a point, especially I think if his last year is going to be him doing movies and sprinkling in WWE, which, to be honest, I think when he announced his retirement tour, I don't think fans really expected that. I think that they thought that John Cena would be more invested. And I'm going to guess that he's not. He's just going to do random appearances in between his filming as he sees fit.
As of
Hopefully
right
it
now,
doesn't
yeah.
contradict with, and we've seen this before, you sign waivers in Hollywood to make sure you don't get injured, right? So he's got to be careful with that and balancing both Hollywood and WWE.
Yes.
You don't want to be injured in Hollywood and they can't compete in WWE, or the reverse happens. So I stick by my prediction. I've been proven wrong, but
Yeah.
and additionally to my prediction, I think that one of his last matches will be against CM Punk. I think we need to see that retelling of, was that 2010? 2011?
2011, I think.
Okay.
Um,
That match where CM Punk and threatened that was gold.
yeah.
It was one of my favorite top 10 matches ever.
Yeah. No, I still think Cena will win the title at WrestleMania, and I think we're gonna go into a summer of John Cena defending the title against a mixed bag of all different opponents on Raws, on SmackDowns, on pay-per-views. I think WrestleMania is really going to kick off his retirement tour, and I think he's going to invest the entire summer to doing big matches that we want to see throughout the year. And then I don't know when he would lose the title. Maybe SummerSlam, but I think we're going to have a couple months where he's defending the title. I don't necessarily think it will be like an open challenge type thing, but I think he'll just do program after program, working with people like Damian Priest, maybe Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes. We'll see him just in programs like that, and we'll also see him in programs with like CM Punk, and maybe we'll see him in a program with Roman. I don't know. I think he's gonna get that last WrestleMania moment. I think he's gonna beat Cody. I think what will be interesting though is if, like, that press conference kind of made me, that seemed off from what normally how he would cut a promo, how he would talk. It seemed more like a heel type promo. It reminded me of back when he was cutting promos on The Rock during their feud. It didn't seem like normal John Cena to me. So I think maybe things will come to a head at WrestleMania where Cody, it looks like Cody's going to win, but for the first time, Cena does like an underhanded tactic to get the win. That I
Because
don't
he wants that 17th title so bad that he's willing
18th.
to do that.
Or no,
Or 18th,
yeah, you're right, 17th.
It is 17th. It is 17th. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's might be the route they're going. I think we'll finally get that Cena heel turn. And I think
that's a bold prediction too. There's believability to it.
I think the seeds are planted. I think it just started with that little press conference there where he didn't want to take any questions. He just kind of cut a real thing there. And we'll see how things. He kind of made it clear that he will not be available until Elimination Chamber, which is about 4 weeks from now, I believe. So, and he's already officially announced for it. Triple H later confirmed that he will be at the Elimination Chamber in the Elimination Chamber match. So we'll have to see who is going to be in there with him. But it could still go in your direction with Logan Paul because he's in the Elimination Chamber match. Let's say Logan Paul somehow screws him. And that then would convince me that, okay, they're going to do John Cena versus Logan Paul. Right now, I still firmly believe that he will be in a match with Cody. Main event at least of night one.
Where does The Rock fit into any of this?
I don't know anymore. I really don't know. I still think he'll be at WrestleMania, but now I'm starting to feel like maybe he won't be wrestling.
I have that same feeling. I think he'll be there in some capacity. I don't think there'll be a match with him in it.
Yeah.
Could there be a physical altercation with him? Yeah, potentially. But I don't think there's a feud. I don't think there's a storyline yet.
I mean, we'll have to wait because last year, the final boss, he didn't show up until the week after Royal Rumble. So maybe they got a surprise for us, but...
Could it also be?
But now it seems like they're kind of tying up the loose ends though, and they got Roman in something now. So if it's not going to be with Roman, is The Rock going to go against Cody? Like I don't.
Well, maybe we're overthinking it.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that this is all going to take place next year because they don't want to accidentally take away focus from John Cena and his retirement tour, and let John Cena have the spotlight for this year and pick back up with The Rock towards the end of the year next year? Because if you have The Rock and John Cena both at the forefront, but obviously not at odds with each other, with odds with different people, do you think there's enough airtime to give them both?
Well, they got two nights of WrestleMania.
No, I mean between Raw and SmackDown and everything. Do you think that there's enough airtime to give them their due and then not overshadow the regular talent who's there every week?
They could probably make it work with Netflix, especially. They got so much time on that show now. They could kind of make things fit things in where they can.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. I just think that it's like having Hulk Hogan and Macho Man at a bar, right? It's like too much, and maybe they're just like, okay, we do that. We might overshadow Seth Rollins by accident. Yeah. Or overshadow somebody else who just doesn't the star power.
Fortunately, we don't have to make those decisions. That's like Triple H.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
No, but I think about that. It's like sometimes there's just too much star power.
Yes.
And then you overshadow the real talent that is there every week putting on a show. And you have The Rock, no offense to him, but he's coming in for a couple of weeks. And you know that the fans are just going to gravitate to him.
On a positive note with that, though, it also pushes talent to be good, be better.
It does.
When somebody like The Rock's there, because they want to, if they're getting put on this level, they want to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's going to be it for the predictions and everything. Next week we'll go back to our regular format where we're going to talk about Raw, SmackDown, and AEW. Yeah. We didn't touch on AEW much this week. We'll get into that next week. I know they got a pay-per-view coming up, so we'll be sure to go into details with that. If you want a little bit of our opinion on AEW, let's see. John Moxley likely ended up choking out somebody at the end of the show. Jeff Jarrett and MJF probably flirted with each other a little bit. And the Hurt Business is the tag team champion, so there you go. Yeah, so next week we'll go back to our regularly scheduled format. But for now, thank you.
Time.
Yeah.
Super Bowl's
next week, so stay tuned on Twitter. I will announce when we're going to be doing the show. I'm thinking early afternoon, maybe around 2 p.m. We'll have to get that settled in. I will announce that at least a day ahead of time. So we will be doing an earlier show. Maybe we'll try to get some sort of Super Bowl segment or activity in there, something special for the show. But yeah, until then, next week, guys, thank you so much for checking us out. Thank you, Marissa, quote-unquote, Naps, Missy Kaboom, Nick Spoom, Hippo in the House, and JoJo90. Thank you guys so much for talking in the chat. Romeo with Flourish over on TikTok. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Expect the unexpected. And, Mr. Chonk, you want to play the Fandango music as our outro on the way out? There we go. All right, guys, thank you so much. And whoa, okay, yeah, okay, let's stop the music right there. Mr. Chonk was getting a little too excited. Maybe he thought he was having his Royal Rumble entrance. All right, guys,